Hello, everybody. I hope you had a good week, 2 weeks. I know we were off last week. Tonight, we're going to do part 2 to how to handle the hard times about the fear that we talked about the last time. And we're in lesson number 28. And I was going to move on and just do the lesson number 6 to how to handle the hard times because there are 6 lessons. But I had it in my spirit to speak on fear some more. So there's something here that we all need to learn about. So what is fear? And what brings it? What causes it? Hurricanes, the economy, not having enough to pay the rent. We're afraid we're going to get the boot out of our place. How about wars? Our people are going to go to war, or rumors of wars, or neighborhood shootings. I just heard about a shooting up the next town up. That all puts something right here, gives us a sense of unease, fear. What did we call this last time? False evidence appearing real. Maybe a new job, how intimidating a new job is. Everybody knows everybody and nobody knows you and you don't know anybody and they're all staring at you. It can be very uncomfortable. It's very uneasy. I don't think we're afraid to start a new job, but we have that kind of a funky fear inside of us. Or how about new neighbors? We don't know who they are. Everything's been going along smooth. There's nothing worse than having a bad neighbor. We don't know who's going to be moving into the place next door. You're afraid. You're afraid that they're going to be somebody that you don't know, don't care for. We hope that our new neighbors are somebody that we get along with. Or how about an illness? An illness that leads to death. And we're afraid. We're afraid for the person. We're afraid for ourselves. There's hundreds of different reasons that we're afraid. Sometimes we can have I guess you could call it a love-hate relationship with fear. How many of us go to the amusement parks, and what's the first thing we do? We jump on the ride. I went to Universal, and I went with my one friend, and we went on that new Harry Potter ride. And it's a motorcycle and then a sidecar. And I told her that I wasn't getting in the sidecar because I was afraid I wasn't going to get out of it because it's, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I sat on the motorcycle, and the ride, you'd come up to this one point and it would shoot you up to 100 miles an hour. You're going from, you're putting along, and I felt fear. And I thought, whoa. And I know I watched the ride waiting in the line, and I watched all these people on this ride, and it just, they just zoomed on past me. It was no thing until I was on the ride, and then you're going along and it just drops you down. But I had fun on the ride. So that's what I mean when I say a love-hate relationship with fear. It's a different kind of fear when we are actually afraid of something, or something happens that we feel fear. But then God steps in. Over 300 times in the Bible, God tells us, do not fear. Or don't be afraid. He tells us, do not fear. Yet we still fear. In some capacity, we fear. So tonight we're going to sit and discuss fear, what it is, how to deal with it, why we can't get over it, why we can't get past it. It's an incredible emotion that everybody, there isn't anybody who says that there's no fear. It's just like the tattoo. I have people all the time tell me, "Oh, that didn't hurt." Yeah, you know what? It does hurt. And I don't know how that they can be poked with a bunch of needles and not be able to move and say that it doesn't hurt. So that would kind of be similar to those who say that they don't have any fear. We all have it, that sense of dread that we have inside of us, knowing that something's going to happen to us. I always get that sense of dread when I have to go to the dentist because I know that it's going to hold. It's nothing worse than mouth pain. It hurts. And I don't like to go to the dentist, but I force my legs to move even though I don't want to. It can incapacitate us. It can inhibit our abilities to move, to react, to laugh. But yet, what does God tell us? Do not fear. Don't be afraid. But yet we do. You know, Franklin D. Roosevelt, our president, he was back in 1933. He said the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. And that actually makes sense. The only thing that we have to fear is fear ourselves. But that also comes back to, how do we not fear? The psalmists, 53 times, it's written in the Psalms, don't fear. Afraid is found over 200 times in the Bible. God keeps telling us, don't fear. So what are different kinds of fear that we might have? How about fear of the unknown? Things that we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Some people are afraid of tomorrow. Or how about when you walk into a room where there's a whole bunch of people? You don't know what's going on. And you have that dread inside of you that you don't want to really, because you have no information, you have no control. The unknown. That one is a big one. God never gave us the ability to see the future. He gives us the ability to see the past. He gives us the ability to see the right now. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes. I can predict I'm still going to be talking here. I got you for a half hour. I've got these little lessons down to a half hour so that you can listen and then go on with your life. So at least I know what's going on for the next 30 minutes. But if we keep our focus on what God has given to us, what we have already, then tomorrow will take care of itself. Because God is making a way. He's like a little plow that's plowing the way for you. Even though you don't know what way it is, even though you don't know what is to be predicted or what's going to happen. He doesn't live in our time. We've talked about that before. He lives outside of time. So he knows how to come in, work it out, and let you just walk into it. He holds your tomorrows in his capable hands and tells you, don't fear. But yet we still do. How about the fear of people? How hard it is to talk to people, communicate. Communication is probably the most difficult thing that we can do, because you can say whatever it is that comes out of your mouth, but when you're speaking to somebody, you're opening up the arena for them to react back to you. Do you really want to hear those words? I don't know if it's fear or being afraid or just feeling that you don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's easier to not speak out. I hear so many people say they'd rather sit home with their animals than with other people, but yet we need people. We definitely need people. We were created to be a sociable entity, and we need to interact with people, whether we like it or not. We have to do the best, and if you're lucky enough to find a friend or two, then you're truly blessed. How about the fear of falling down or being hurt? I have a kitty at home. Bless his little kitty in his heart. He likes to sit between my legs when I'm in the kitchen cooking. And I'm always looking down. I always have to look down. Make sure his name is Archie. Make sure that Archie's not there down between my legs. I caught him between my legs just a couple days ago, and he just twisted him, and then he cried out. And I said, why are you in between my legs? The one time I don't look, and you're in between my legs. And he's there all the time. It's like a thing for him. It's, that's my kitty. But if I'm not careful, I could hurt him. I could fall down. How about being hurt? Cutting yourself with a knife. There's many types of afraids. There's many types of fear. The fear of being alone. A lot of people don't like to be alone. So they'll attach themselves to anybody who will talk to them, just so that they don't have to be alone. You need to recognize a lot of fears. For example, fear of being alone. Why? Is it because you don't like yourself? You're all that you have. We talk about self-esteem so many times. We talk about the fact that God has made you and loves you. So you need to love you. Being alone is kind of nice. A lot of people like to be alone and sit with their animals. If you don't like to be alone, start to ask yourself why. Start to look into your eyes. We talked about that in one of our lessons. Learn to love you. Be the most important person in your life. Train yourself to be alone. Teach yourself and train yourself. Learn to love you. Learn to get to know you. Who's with you all the time? You are. Yeah, Jesus is with you. God is with you. The Holy Spirit is always with you. But you're always with you. So you might as well like you, get to know you, and love you. Then maybe you can be alone and you won't have to find random people to make you feel as though you're worthy. That's not good. How about the fear of not being liked by others? How many times does that happen? We all want to be liked, and we all wonder why. Why doesn't so-and-so like me? There's nothing wrong with me. Do you ever think maybe your spirits they don't jive? So if you feel funky inside, you don't have to be friends with everybody. You can walk away. You can be cordial. Move along. But fear is a natural human response to many things. But remember, fear doesn't come from God. God tells us, do not fear. So where does the fear come from? We all know the answer to that. It comes from the devil. And what is fear? We'll bring our paper up again. False evidence appearing real. So what is the devil doing? He's tricking you. He's laughing at you. How many times do we talk about this? Do you like to be laughed at? If you don't, then start recognizing why you're feeling fear. Why? Now, granted, fears are real. I'm not downplaying fears at all. Fears are real. The fear of heights, I mean, that's a medical condition. I struggle to get up on a ladder. I start to get all shaky. I don't know why. I try real hard. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to get up on that ladder, and then my legs start shaking, and not in a funky way, but my head and some people can. I watch people zoom up the ladder. I have a clock on the wall, and even when I'm on the top step of the ladder, I'm this far away from reaching that clock, and it has to be changed twice a year. So I have to have somebody come over and change the clock for me. And they zoom up that ladder, change that clock, and come back down before I can even get on the first step. Mm-hmm. So there's, and it's not that I have a fear of ladders, it's just my head gets all wobbly, and I don't want to fall down and break a hip. How about the fear of needles? I've heard people say, oh, I can't be stabbed with a needle. It's real. Needles hurt, yeah, but that's something that you just, needles, they don't bother me, but they bother other people. Ladders bother me, but they don't bother other people. How about the fear of the dentist? I talked about that one before. I don't know if anybody likes to go to the dentist. I need to be knocked out. They put the gas on me, send me off in left field so that they could just clean my teeth. It's I don't know if I'll ever get past that. Or fear of an illness. We don't have answers as to why some of us succumb to illness and others don't. I was talking to a friend of mine about that today. It's I don't know. I don't know why God does the things that he does. I don't know why he puts us in the positions that we are put into. I don't know so many things, but I'm not going to let go of him. I'm not going to get bitter and angry and say I'm never going to talk to you again because you're doing this to me and you won't help me do that. I know a woman who's so angry. She actually used the word hate. I thought, wow, that's pretty strong. And what is that? Devil creeping up, messing with you. How about the fear of dying? We have no choice. It's going to happen to all of us. We came, we lived, we die. We know we're going to heaven. We've heard about heaven. We anticipate going to heaven. But I don't know, and I've talked to quite a few people, I don't know anybody who has ever said that they're looking forward to dying. I'm not. I know Jesus is on the other end, but I'm not quite sure. So that's a big fear for a lot of us. Death can be very, very scary. And the Bible doesn't have all the answers to our questions about heaven and about life after death. We just know that it's a glorious place. It's more than we could ever understand. Paul, remember we talked in depth about Paul a couple lessons ago, and he wrote in 1 Corinthians 13:12. That's 1 Corinthians 13:12. Now I know in part, and that's where we are. Now I know in part, because we know that there's a heaven. We know that it's more than we could ever understand. We know we're going to have new bodies. We know that there's going to be no more pain and suffering. But what else do we know? And what does Paul say? Then I shall know fully. So when we get to heaven, then we'll know. Then we'll understand. You know? I always wonder to myself about the people that I don't care for and I see them in heaven. Am I going to like them then? I don't know. I don't know, because I'm at the first part of Paul's statement that says, now I know in part. Because I haven't gotten to the point where, and then I shall know fully, because I haven't gone over there yet. There was a pastor who had given a scenario. He said that, about death and dying. And he said that when our person dies, we walk them to the edge of the pier, and then they get on the boat, and then the boat sails away, and we're sad. It's sad to have our person go. And we see them, and they go to the horizon, and they start out as a big ship, and then as they go closer and closer to the horizon, they get smaller and smaller till we're just looking. And then all of a sudden, they're not anymore. But on the other side, they start out little, and as they go closer and closer to their destination, they get bigger, and the people on the other side are cheering them on. They're happy. And us on this side, we're sad. We turn around and we go home and we live our lives and we remember them. Yeah, that can be very scary. But let's open up and hear what God has to say about fear. That's Isaiah 40. I gotta find it. Isaiah has a really good, here it is. Isaiah 40:10. Nope, that wasn't it. Maybe it's Isaiah 10, sorry. Shoot. I missed one. Oh, 41:10, sorry. There it is. It's Isaiah 41:10. And it says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. All who rage against you will surely be ashamed and disgraced, and those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish. And though you search for your enemies, you will not find them. And those who wage war against you will be as nothing at all. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you. Do not be afraid. Those are some powerful words there. Because God is telling you right there, again, don't be afraid. I'll hold your hand. I'll be there for you. But how do we do that? God is not, we've talked about that so many times. God is not tangible. He can't, how do you hold God's hand when you can't see it? Talk to him. Have your faith. Know that God will help you. Know that he is here for you. And blindly walk forward knowing that he's got you. Like me, when I don't want to go to the dentist, I don't like to go. But I get in my car and I drive there and I tell myself, be brave, don't be afraid, you'll be okay. They gas me up And then next thing I know, I'm on the way back home. Or when I have to walk into a room full of people, I say, Lord, give me strength. I don't want to do this. I don't fear it. I'm just afraid. What are they going to think of me? What are they going to think of the words I'm saying? What should I do? What if my hair's not right? I blindly gawk in. I think we talked about fear. There's really not a whole lot that I fear. There's things that I'm afraid to do, but not fear. Each part of you, your spirit, your soul, your body, it's all intimately connected to each other. To every part of you is connected. And the well-being of your spirit and your body and your soul impacts your body, your spirit, and your soul because they're integrated. Your spirit is off key, your body isn't going to feel good. If your body doesn't feel good, your soul says, we need to do something about this. So what do? We talk to God. We walk in faith. We blindly keep going. Because what choice do we have to fall apart? Let the devil take over? Let the devil be the one to laugh at you? I try real hard not to let the devil laugh at me. He gets me. Sometimes more than others, because I have to constantly be paying attention to what I'm doing, saying, and feeling. And you will too. So remember, a couple of these Bible passages here. Remember Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. One of the Bible passages says, yea, I will help you. I will hold you in the righteous of my right hand. That's pretty powerful. Or how about some New Testament, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. So reach inside you, grab a hold of that. Say, Lord, I'm not quite sure what to do, but today is day one that I will put my fears aside. How about Joshua? This is Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? God's asking you, have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Remember a couple times ago, he's your greatest cheerleader. He cheers you on. Yes. He's cheering you on. Accept that and just blindly go. We talked about that. With your faith, with your courage. He tells you right here, be strong and be courageous. If you don't know where the rent money's coming from, tell him, Lord, where's the rent money coming from? What should I do? What can I do? A friend of mine, she always has the rent money. And she doesn't know where it's coming from each month. But yet, it's always there. Because what does God say? Be strong, be courageous, don't be frightened, for I am with you wherever you go. And she believes that. She grabs a hold of it, she believes it, and the rent is paid. Can happen to you too. How about Proverbs 29:25? The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts the Lord is safe. So God tells you, don't fear, because fear is real. Don't let anybody tell you that fear isn't real, because it is. In Isaiah 41:13, we read that one a little earlier. For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand, and it is I who say, fear not, I am the one who helps you. So he's telling you, fear not. It's not that easy. It's not easy at all not to fear. But if you start to train yourself, if you start to be aware that something or someone or a situation is what causes you fear, start to recognize and say, Lord, walking down this street, I'm afraid. Or, Lord, I'm afraid to walk in this room with all these strange people that I don't know. Or, Lord, I'm afraid of my person is ill, and I'm afraid. And watch how over time, several days, couple hours, you'll have a notion, you'll have a comfort in you. And when you start to feel that, recognize it and say, thank you, thank you. Doesn't necessarily mean that the situation is going to go away, but he brings a comfort into you. So I have a prayer that I pulled off of the internet, and we will say it to ourselves. Father, I accept the gift of a sound mind that you have promised me. I refuse to allow the spirit of fear to control my life and my mind. Today, I propose and declare that your love, your power are filling my heart and soul to overflowing as a result of your Holy Spirit living in me. I will operate out of the soundness of my mind that you are giving me. And I choose to experience that sound mind in all my activities and interactions today. And I thank you, Lord. Amen. I hope that some of the words that I spoke today will resonate with you and help you know and let you be able to grab a hold of whatever fear you have and give it to God. And next week, we will finish up our How to Handle the Hard Times, our lesson number 6, and then we'll move on to something else. Again, if there is something that you want to deep dive into, put a comment down there. Send me a message on Facebook, and I will research it for you and we'll turn it into a lesson that we can all learn together. And again, we're going to thank Juanita Folsom Ministries.com. She has a website. If you want to appreciate her allowing us to use the equipment for this time together, then she has a PayPal link on her website. Again, Juanita Folsom Ministries.com. And until next week, thank you.
That was